Welcome back, guys, to another week of That Scale RC Show. I am your host, Adam Dean, alongside with
Jeremy Kendall.
And we got a special guest in the building today. Please introduce yourself. Let everybody know who's here.
John Schultz from Element RC.
Woohoo! All right. So
there's going to be a lot of people that are excited to hear what he has to say.
So we're going to start you off with our little quick questionnaire. Nothing too crazy, just so that way any listener out there who doesn't know who you are can get a little more familiar with you. Let's start with the basics. What is your favorite scale crawler?
Favorite scale? 10
yes.
Scale.
Okay. Favorite place to go crawling?
Ooh, there's that's tricky because I do travel all over the country. So there's a place in New York that me and Scotty G used to go to once a year. It was epic. I don't even know what the place is called. We just go to this park, and it was way back in the woods. It was pretty epic. But locally around my house, I would either say CDM, Corona Del Mar, or it depends on the day. If it's a nice warm day at CDM, of course, and if it's a nice cool day, I like going to Horseman's Park.
Nice. What would be your favorite RC event?
Past favorite RC event. My most favorite RC event is probably the Axial Fest of the past when Rodney Wills was involved. Absolutely, biggest, most awesome people, good times. Yeah.
Awesome. That was actually both of our answers when we did this a couple weeks ago. Current number of rigs that you own?
Oh, jeez.
Many.
I have a 12 by 12 shed in the back that's full. I have a 3-car garage, which the attic is full. The 1-car garage is full. My shop area is pretty full. I've been playing with RC cars since '84, and I've been collecting a lot of old stuff. So it's hard for me to throw anything away or sell. So I can't even answer that question.
So let's just chalk that up as a lot.
A lot. Everything from micro stuff all the way up to fifth scale and quarter scale.
Nice. Favorite tire?
For what? Racing, crawling?
Crawling. So most of these are going to be crawling questions or scale questions because that's what we're basing the show around. So favorite scale tire?
I like the Proline Super Swampers, the XLs.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my most consistent favorite tire. I rarely run the Hyrexes because they don't look realistic enough for me, even though I'm more of a comp guy than a scale guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like that realistic look. So I would have to say the KM3s too. Gosh, the new KM3s are really good also. I would have to stay with the Super Swampers from Proline in the new compound.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of these answers are starting to sound very similar to ours. So it seems like that's like the go-to around here.
Yeah, they're the go-to tire here too.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, because it's got nice open lugs. It's a nice big tire.
Yeah, super popular here.
I run the Proline dual stage in it. So yeah, it's always a go-to tire.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What is your favorite body you wish was available for Scale RC? If it's not already available.
I just built one of those new Toyota, the Matrix body from Proline.
Mm-hmm.
So I just built one of those. I'm pretty excited about that. I'll be using that this weekend at K&K. See, what's my other favorite body? I like the Jeep, the Proline Jeep Commando?
Mm-hmm.
Commander? Yeah, I like that body too. Those are probably my two favorite. Right now, I change bodies like going out of style. Last week it was the Forerunner. The week before that was, who knows? It changes quite a bit.
Nice.
There's so many bodies out there right now. There's so many manufacturers, you know. So
yes,
it's really wide open. I mean, James Knight's got I have a hard body Cherokee body that I'm going to be working on here soon, also. So, and I also have a UC Fab buggy body that I want to build with the new Element axles and stuff. So.
Oh, nice. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
That'll definitely be a first. So,
yes.
Because I know a lot of people base that around the SEX, so that'll be a first. That'll be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be rad.
Yeah, it's in the process right now. I've been working on it a little bit at a time, but my time has been pretty busy for the last few months for whatever reason.
For whatever reason. Yeah. So let's get through these last two, and then we'll touch base with what you got going on and where you're at, and get into all the fun stuff. This one might be a little harder for you, but next scaler you would buy would be.
Oh, Element.
That's why I said this was kind of. It was going to be a hard. That's why I said this one's going to be a hard one for you to answer. And then last. What kind of music gets you going? Like, what do you have? Like, if you were to open up your playlist right now, what would you have playing right now?
Queen, Metallica. I like hard rock. I mean, Iron Maiden.
Nice.
Yeah, AC/DC, Crocus. Yeah, there's a lot of bands. When I was growing up, you know, in the 70s and 80s. I mean, you know, I went to Iron Maiden's concerts and saw Twisted Sister for the first time before they were anybody down in the Hollywood Palladium, which was awesome. So, yeah, that kind of stuff. You know, some good rock and roll, heavy metal.
Nice.
Awesome.
I saw Iron Maiden live at Long Beach Palladium. It was probably the loudest. It was a Peace of Mind tour, and it was probably the loudest concert I've ever been to in my life. It was so loud, the tiles on the ceiling were falling. But
damn,
what an awesome show it was.
That's awesome. Right on.
Yeah, that blows mine away. If just real quickly, if we're going to be talking about first concerts, my first concert was Metallica Summer Sanitarium 2003. That was a pretty insane show because that lineup was Metallica, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park,
holy cow,
Deftones. Oh,
wow.
and Mudvayne. I forgot about them.
Damn, everybody was there.
Yes, it was.
That was pretty crazy, but nothing like no ceiling tiles fell off because it was at the where the 49ers used to play. I can't even think right now. Candlestick.
Oh, it was an open venue then.
Open venue, so we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. There's actually a lot of farewell ones going on right now. I think even not that it's in the same. I mean, it's older rock, but it's not old heavy rock. But I think Bob Seger's doing a farewell tour.
Yeah, we got Iron.
Are they really a farewell
Judas
tour? Or are they
Priest
just
coming up
saving
here
that so to get more money?
Be pretty rad.
Yeah,
I
mean,
can't believe
look
those
at
guys are
Kiss.
still
How many
going.
farewell
It's kinda
tours they
crazy.
have?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I don't know. That's just what my local radio station's been saying. Win tickets to see Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band for their farewell tour. So, I don't know. Just going with it. But back to the meat and potatoes. So, you're now with Element RC,
Exactly.
which is it safe to say that that's a sister brand? How would you label that in with Team Associated?
Well, it's simple. Associated Electronics is our company. If why we did Element RC. Well, if I walked into a hobby shop and said, "Hey, I'm from Team Associated. You want to see our crawler?" The first thing you would think of is race cars.
Mm-hmm.
So we needed to come out with another brand, which is Element. That's our lifestyle brand. That's going to be our crawler brand. So when I walk into a hobby shop and I say, "Hey, I'm from Element," they know I'm their with a skilled crawler, or I'm not there with a race car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we changed the brand. Yes, we are all in the same building. Yes, we race cars, and now we crawl. We also, it's Associated Electronics has a team associated, Element Reedy, which is our electronic line, which is
Right.
motors, servos, batteries. Now they have crawler batteries and crawler servos, crawler motors, and then we have our factory team. Factory team makes parts for all kinds of race cars. It doesn't have to be our car; it could be anybody's car, and that's our four lines with Associated Electronics.
So, are you guys going to have option parts and stuff under the factory team name, or is it going to be under Element instead?
I'm not sure yet, because we want to keep Element away from there. There'll probably be some parts, yes, but we want Element to be
Nice.
the lifestyle brand. We don't want it to be a race brand. And once you say,
right
hey, we have factory team parts, yeah, we'll probably have some factory team parts, but we want to keep it, the fun, the fun brand, the one that you're gonna put in the back of your Jeep and go out and play with.
Awesome. So with that being said, for anybody who doesn't know, how long have you been with Team Associated?
I've been with the Team Associated for about a year now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right after Axial Fest last year, I moved over to Team Associated, or Associated Electronics.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now how all that works out is, a lot of people don't realize, but I was with HBI with Rodney Wills for almost 6 years, and worked with him when we were big in the heyday. And Sean Ireland, the president, that was the president of HBI at the time. So when that all kind of dispersed, Sean Ireland went to Horizon Hobbies and brought me over to Horizon for a couple of years. And I worked there for 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. And then Sean left and went and did something else. And I left Horizon and went to go to work for Rodney at Axial. And I was with Axial. Well, a lot of people don't realize that I was never an employee of Axial's. I was a contractor of Axial's. Even though I worked there every day, 7 days a week sometimes, did all the events, traveled. I was a representative for Axial,
Mm-hmm.
but never really worked for Axial. Just for whatever reason, that's how. And there was a few people like that. Me, Revis, Tony Phelan, who am I missing? Oh, Greg Vogel. So there was a few people there that worked for Axial, but didn't really work for Axial, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and then when Horizon took over Axial, I reached out to Sean Ireland and asked him what he was doing. He's like, hey, I'm glad you called. And that's how it all started. So they were planning on working on their crawler brand, and thought it was a great time to go over there and help out. So
Awesome.
I've been working with Aaron Lane, one of the designers, for the last year. So it's been a fun time. A lot of good
Awesome.
times.
Yeah, so that actually starts opening up a couple more questions. So would it be safe to say that this time around you're more of an employee so you're working for Team Associated, or are you kind of the same thing, or can you not say? I mean, it's...
I am a 100% employee of Associated Electronics.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I did the whole self-contracting thing for a while, and that's cool, but, you pay taxes, you do all the stuff yourself, there's no insurance, that's all that mess. Not saying there were some benefits too, because I could work when I wanted to and didn't have to work too when I didn't want to work.
Yeah.
But I also worked for Monster Jam. I also worked for a couple other manufacturers out there too. Same time I was working for Axial. So I can make extra cash here and there also.
Yeah. Which is actually another cool thing. So you actually had your hand in bringing the Monster Jam brand to Axial. Is that correct?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, which I think was awesome because personally I own both SMT10 still currently, and it's actually a event that's starting, scale wise become a little more popular here in Northern California. I don't know if Jay's got the same thing going on in Washington, but I know Northern California, the guys up by Redding, they host races all the time, and it doesn't matter if you have flat rail chassis, custom chassis, SMT10, whatever it is. They just want to race,
That's awesome.
have fun, and they're having a blast. So,
Well, on the East Coast or Midwest, there's quite a few different organizations out here that race monster trucks. Showtime, they have their own group of guys, and I think they just had one that had 400 entries. No limit. There's a couple no limits. No limit Virginia. No limit of Maryland. No limit of North Carolina. There's all these no limit companies that are organizations that race monster trucks, and that's all they do. No limit of Florida. And I just did the RC Monster Jams World Finals in Orlando, Florida at the World Finals with Monster Jam. So we're doing that also. So Monster Jam, our monster truck racing out here on the East Coast is huge compared to it is in California or West Coast.
Yeah, well, and it's I was gonna say even with I call it 1-to-1, shows you how much I'm into the RC. But the real monster truck world, that scene has always kind of been more popular Midwest to the East Coast versus the West Coast. I know. Actually, I was bummed out. I had recently reached out to you to see if you were going to be at the one at Levi Stadium because we were going, but you were gearing up for the World Finals. So
yes.
So
yes, so yeah, and the monster truck race is really cool. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and whenever I get a chance to race monster trucks, I try to do my best because it's a blast.
It does look super fun.
So let's see. I was gonna say, Jay, I don't want to totally take everything away, but I was gonna say, do you have any other questions? Because I have a couple more that I think are kind of good, interesting ones that I'm sure other people are dying to know.
Yeah. Actually, there was something I always wondered, and that was with the SMT10. Was that your push, or how did that come about? Because I know that caught a lot of people by surprise with Axial.
Yes, that was my push.
That's awesome.
That was my push, and worked with the designer Jamie when Jamie was at Axial, and helped him. I just helped him, guided him in the right direction, gave him pictures, got close up of the monster truck chassis, got him hooked up over at Monster Jam so we could do licensed body, and that's where Scotty G came in and did all that stuff. So yeah,
that's awesome.
That was a big factor of that.
I thought so.
Unfortunately, I was really sad to see him discontinue all that stuff. So
yeah, that was a bummer because that thing was a lot of fun, and it's one of those things where, like, in hindsight, I wish Axial would have pushed it a little bit harder at things like Axial Fest, because I think that would have probably sparked some interest with a lot of people. But no, I thought it was really, really cool right from the beginning, and just, and plus it was scale looking, and like you drove it, and it actually acted like a real monster truck, the way the thing would dive, under braking and then squat down under acceleration and stuff. Like, it looked super realistic to drive, and so I was just immediately into it.
They're a handful, but they're fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that thing was really cool. So the other question I had too here was, so were you racer guy before you were scalar guy, or how did that work out?
I've been racer guy since '84.
Rad. That's awesome.
So my first car was a Tamiya Frog, because that was the car to have. There was no low C, there was no Team Associated, there was none of that. It was either Tamiya or MRC or So that was my first car, and I started racing, and I've been a racer ever since. I did step away and race some desert motorcycle stuff for a while, and got hurt, got back into RC, but no, I've been a racer. I'm still a racer. Me and my son Jonathan, we just raced a JBRL last weekend, and raced 40 and over, and 17.5 short course, which is not really normal for me, but I podiumed with both cars, so it's fun.
Awesome. I was gonna say, so Jonathan didn't get to make the trip out with you to Ohio because I think he posted somewhere, it was like on Snapchat or Instagram, that he got off finals and was prepping for a race that's coming up.
Yeah, he's in college, right now, and then he has a big race at our local track, Heading Hobbies, so he's preparing for that.
Oh, okay.
You drive the new B74 yet?
Oh yeah, that car is awesome.
Yeah.
That all the problems that the 64 had, the 74 fixes all those issues.
Rad. Yeah, they look really, really good. Cody Knudsen is the area team manager for AE up here, and he had, Sean Maybell, and then Cody Knudsen's one of the team drivers, and then we got like Waylon Rose and some other guys, and we've been racing carpet with those guys, indoor off-road carpet this last winter, and then for the summer we've moved to the outdoor AstroTurf track at this big RC park that we have up here, and that the B74 looks absolutely amazing out there. It looks like a really, really good car.
It is. There's been a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of track time in that race car. I mean, they would come into work, they would drive to Vegas to the carpet track, practice all day, and then drive home. And for you guys that are listening, don't know where Vegas is from where our shop is, it's a 4.5, 5 hour drive.
I was gonna say.
So they're driving that far to go test the car and come back the same night.
That's awesome.
So,
wow.
That's one thing I really enjoy about working for Team Associated, is that everybody there is an enthusiast, some way, shape, or form.
Right.
So the president, Cliff Lett, the vice president, Sean Ireland, they got national titles under their belt, world titles under their belt. So it's just cool to talk shop and everybody understands.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Everybody's an enthusiast.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I kind of see a lot of similarities that I kind of draw a comparison to. Like I see with you and Jonathan. Like you guys are kind of the AE version of my son and I up here. With HB, hot bodies. So it's kind of funny. Just both families into crawlers, both families like diehard racers and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Me and Jonathan, me and my son, we spent a lot of time together, and it's been awesome. I'm really not looking forward to it when he goes away to college, or he gets he's planning on being a CHP officer, so he's been trying real hard he's been working out and riding his bicycle and trying to get ready for that. So
awesome.
He'll be going to Sacramento if he gets accepted for 6 months, and that'll probably be a tough time for me.
Oh, dude.
Because we always spend time together.
Dude, absolutely. Trav's
That means I'll just have to. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that means I'll have to go up there and harass him.
Absolutely. He'll stay at Elio's house or something.
Yeah, Trav just joined the Air Force, so I'm just like, I'm happy for him, but it's, mixed feelings. It's like, man, that kid's like my best friend. How am I gonna, go like a week without seeing him or anything? It's going to be a really strange thing to adjust to.
Exactly. Sometimes we have our moments, but at the end of the day, he's my best friend, so we do a lot together.
That's awesome.
So I'm proud of him. He's come a long way, but at the same time, it's like, oh man,
yeah,
not looking for him to leave.
No, I hear you. No, that's cool though. Congrats, man. That's killer.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And it's nice to see, for both you guys, like to see the younger generation want to go into something, that's actually a very, in my opinion, prideful career choice, because, most kids these days, they're kind of lazy. They don't really want to, even getting some of them to go out and enjoy RC is kind of like pulling teeth. They'd rather be playing video games or taking the easy way out. They don't want to put forth anything, to take a step in a better direction. So to hear that, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, that's a very respectable career choice. That's cool. That's something that you'd like to see more people do. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So, well, I know he kind of already answered it when you asked him if he's always been a racer. I was going to say what got you into RC, but you kind of already touched base on that. That was another big question I was going to have for you.
Uh-oh, did it drop it?
You still there?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
better.
okay, yeah,
I don't know what
Oh,
I
happened.
could still hear you both.
You're sounding all robotic for a minute, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, it did that again
okay. It
too.
could be our
So,
connections.
but
No, I was
you sound good now.
okay. I was saying, um, when Jay already asked the question about if you're a racer or if you or like or what got you into scaling and all that, my question was going to be kind of like what got you into RC, but you kind of touched base that you got into it at a young age back in the 80s. So there's really no need unless there's anything more in depth you have on that.
No, did we lose him again?
I still hear him.
RC car went
Oh, now
racing.
I hear him.
Are you sure it's not you,
I'm
Jay?
here.
Yeah, I hear him now.
Yep.
Sorry, everybody. I don't know what's going on here. It's weird. The call keeps cutting in and out.
Well, actually, this is our first. What is it? I wouldn't say it's our first national call. We haven't actually had to go this. We haven't had to go this far for
National.
a guest before, so
It appears to be working fine
Well, I'm
now.
sitting in my hotel room in Ohio with on Wi-Fi. So
okay. How about that? How about you talk about that? See, that's one thing that me and Jay kind of dropped the ball on. We kind of stopped announcing events coming up, and I totally spaced it that the Team KMK event is this weekend. So let us
yes,
know why you're out in Ohio.
I'm out here to go to Mike Kirby's uh, K&K TTC 6, I believe
Mm-hmm.
it is. Uh, they have a Sorka Light event out here, and they'll get approximately. He's saying he's looking
Wow.
probably around 750 to 1,000 people at his event,
Wow.
and it's a fun event. We do everything from there's a course you have to do.
So are you recording?
You got
Okay.
it.
All right. So, John, let us all know why you're out in Ohio.
Mike Kirby does an event every year called K&K TTC 6, I believe is what it is. So it's basically like a Sorka Light event, and he's
Mm-hmm.
expecting between he'll probably get between 500 and 1,000 people out there on his property, and
Wow.
he has you enter your truck either class 0, 1, 2, 2.5, 3, and you have to do everything. You have to do the crawling course, the mud pit, the tank trap, the truck pull, the hill climb, and you get scored on everything you do with your truck. You can't change tires once you start it. You got to keep the truck the same. But it's a lot of fun. I did it 2 years ago, and it's just a blast. And there's people from all over. So I have more fun walking around talking with everybody than I do competing. Actually, I really like competing too, but there's so many people there from everywhere that it's an awesome event. So that's this weekend.
Awesome. Yeah, we kind of dropped the ball. We used to do that whole, we talk about events coming up, and that was one that we seemed to let slip through the cracks. So we apologize for that one. Yeah, I know. So, let's see. What else we got going on? Well, I guess the other questions I have, and I'm not sure if it's stuff that you can actually answer. I mean, I know some of it's relatively new. So the Element Sendero is out. Is there going to be any other, I guess, in-house bodies or vehicles that will be coming out under that name, or is that something everyone's just going to have to wait and see?
Element, we're here to
Okay.
stay. We're here to, I mean, Associated Electronics. Well, I mean, we designed this truck to, to be the best of the best right now. So we're here to stay. Of course, we're going to come out with more models and different bodies and that kind of stuff. People are always asking me, "Hey, are you going to come out with a kit?" Well, yeah, of course we're going to come out with a kit. When? I'm not sure when, but it's in our future. We have our next couple of years planned out. So, and my title is actually the brand ambassador.
Okay.
For this brand. So we're here to stay. I mean, we have Reedy stepping up and doing motors now and batteries and speedos and so yeah, we're just you guys just need to hang on and watch because it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well,
Just,
well, yeah, like John said, I mean, there's so much to watch. Not only with Element, but I mean, there's so much going on in the scale world right now. It's just, I mean, if anybody's out there complaining about anything, I don't know what's wrong with you. There's there's so much going on right now. It's just like there's something literally for everybody. So somebody should be happy with something that's coming out, or something that's already out, because I mean, everything that's just been coming out since Proline by the Fire, and even just before that, has been insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Proline by the Fire. There's probably 1,200 people there. It was absolutely insane. Proline by the Fire. We have K&K, Crawl for the Cure. I mean, Crawl for the Cure is. I didn't go to that one last year because we weren't ready. But would they have 400 or 500 people there last year?
Are you going to make it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's on my calendar. I have quite a few events on my calendar to go do. So, also when I travel, I also like stopping at hobby shops and showing off our product too. So I've been seeing a lot of shops here in Ohio. So you never know, I might end up at a hobby shop near you, anybody. So follow me on Facebook.
Yes, and we'll actually make sure to put all of your stuff on our page so people can find you if they don't already follow you. So that way they can stay up to date with what you're doing, with what's going on with Element, and what's going on with Team Associated. So
yes, absolutely. Yep.
I think a lot of people are going to appreciate the fact too that you are showing up at events and everything, because I know that with some brands and whatnot and just little stuff that's popping up here and there, there's a lot of people that are trying to ride the Scale RC wave and kind of like get their own little chunk of the market and cash in on it while it's popular. And it's cool to see that this is something that you guys are enthusiasts about, and you obviously care very much about it, and you're actually showing up at events and going to be meeting the people that are driving your cars, and I think that's something that's probably going to go a really long ways for you guys.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be great.
And people we're not just making a product and putting it in the box. We're actually living it, and it's funny because Sean Ireland, he's our vice president, and we took him out crawling, and he's having a blast with it. So we all planned on going to K&K this year, and I'm like, all right, I'm kind of explaining to him how it works. You're going to be competing, and this is how you're going to compete. So for the last month, we've been going out up the street. We have a little test area up there, and I've been putting cones out, and he's getting such a kick out of timing himself, going through all the cones and not touching the cones, and so he's super excited about coming out and playing with everybody out here. And that's the vice president of our company. So
awesome.
That's awesome.
We're looking forward to getting him out here and having a good time. And then Aaron Lane, he's been doing it. He's been a big time racer for a while, racing F1 and on road as well as some off road. But Aaron got into the crawling about a year or so ago, and he went to last Axial Fest, and he did a bunch of other events, and he's hooked, line, and sinker also. So when I have an idea or somebody has an idea, Aaron's like the first guy. Oh yeah, let's try it, let's do it, because he's an enthusiast.
That's really cool.
Building the Element truck, we went through a lot. We built custom gearboxes and changed links and long links, short links. We did all kinds of stuff, running rotation one way, rotation the other way, just to get the truck to be as best it can be out of the box. And I think we achieved that. So, and it shows, our passion shows. So I'm pretty stoked.
Oh, totally.
Oh, absolutely. Especially that trans. That trans is probably what's caught most people's attention, because that is just genius with the overdrive and everything included.
Yeah, it comes 6% out of the box, and then in the box we give you the 12%. So if you want more overdrive, it's already in the box.
That's just
You
way
know,
too
just like
cool.
the battery. We're like, well, what battery box do we put in it? Some guys like running shorties, and some guys like running full size. So we just put both battery boxes in the box. That way you can decide.
That's so cool.
See, and that's awesome because some of the people, especially the ones getting into the hobby, they might not necessarily have everything figured out. So to your newbie that's coming in, it's definitely one of those rigs you can go to, and everything's pretty much essentially there. So you're not really having to hunt for anything special. Most hobby shops can just set you up with, okay, here you go, get out and have fun.
Right, exactly. And the crazy thing right now, there's a lot of racers that are getting involved with the scaling, and all the racers have shorty bags.
Mm-hmm.
So we make it easier for them too.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of Associated fans up here that weren't into crawling, and now that Associates come out with that truck, they're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So it's I mean, even people locally here that I've seen, so it's really cool to see. It's the other thing that I thought was kind of crazy, you guys had a very successful social media marketing campaign upon the release of this thing. And who, if you can say who was behind that, because that worked out great. I mean, basically, that's if you were into RC, that was your feed on Facebook, for a good week and a half, probably, even still trickling around.
yeah, Brad Geck is he's a marketing manager. So Brad Geck and but the way we work, we all work as one. We all work as a team. So we all have ideas and we try them out and see what happens. So it's really good to work with. Brad's a great guy and he's open to ideas and stuff and yeah, so it was a great launch, and we're not done yet. So.
Awesome.
He's quite the guy too. I noticed when it comes to painting bodies and kind of getting this whole scale realism thing down. He has turned out some pretty amazing CR12 bodies, so that's definitely been fun to watch. So I mean, that's more proof there that he's obviously very much an enthusiast, and this isn't just a 9 to 5 for the guy. So that's really cool.
Oh, he'll leave with a body. He'll come back the next day, and it's completely just decked out. I'm like, how'd you have time to do this? He's got more scale bodies on his shelf than he has trucks.
Wow.
So.
That's great.
We have a saying in the office. We call it full doll housing.
Full doll housing. We're gonna have to start that just like your other hashtag. Drive it like a rental. Hashtag full doll housing.
Full doll housing. That's there's two types of guys out there. There's me, which likes to compete and do the hard lines and make that hard climb, and then there's the other guys like Brad and Aaron that like to look good while they're doing it, full drivers and all the accessories and antennas and lights and all that stuff, and and it's funny because I just built my class 1, and this is actually the first time I've built a full interior with a full guy in years, and I've been crawling 10 years. I mean, since West Coast Challenge, or what was the West Coast Championships up in Donner.
Mm-hmm.
I've been crawling because we had the Crawler King with HBI. So
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I've been crawling since those days. So I like to compete, but this is the first time since then that I've actually built a full dollhouse truck. So.
Like I said, we're gonna
that kills me. I love it.
The new hashtag.
Hashtag full dollhouse.
That is so great.
I'll have to get you a
that.
sticker for your Jeep.
Yeah, I still got 2 chains on my back of my Jeep and on my Scion.
Awesome.
My Scion hasn't been to Axial Fest in 3 years.
Wow.
So.
It's weird. I was thinking about with the Element being the RTR and everything, a lot of people, of course, some of the purists in the hobby immediately, it's like, well, when's the kit version coming out? That was something I noticed is like, there's really not anything that it needs. Like, it comes with nice links, everything. So I mean, I don't really understand necessarily the big push for a kit, because you're already getting all the premium parts
Well,
with the rig to begin with.
crawling is like the
So
Harley Davidson of RC. You're gonna buy your scale truck, and the first thing you want to do is put a scale gas cap on, or a chrome gas cap on it. So, these
right,
guys they want the crawler, but they want to put their own twist to it. I
right.
remember being at when I was at Axial. I mean, we came out with the SX102, and the first thing everybody did was changed everything. Reversed everything. Put things upside down. So, but that's what makes this segment in RC fun, because you
Right.
can do that, and not get criticized for it, like racing. Um, with
Sure.
Associated Truck, we did put some features on this truck, so we make it easy for you to change, like the gearbox. We put holes on both sides of the plate, so if you want to spin the gearbox, all you got to do is turn it around 4 screws, and then swap the overdrive inside, and you're ready to rock and roll.
That is so
So,
smart.
we made it where a lot of guys say, "Why is my truck so much faster in reverse?" Well, a lot of people don't understand that motors are timed. They have timing in them. So what we did is we made it so you can reverse the motor, and then you can actually reverse the ring and pinion in the axles on our rig to make it go faster and forward than reverse.
Oh, I
So
see.
there's a lot of adjustment in this truck that we put to make people to use their own imagination. So
Right.
just like you can mount the battery box in the back if you want. The holes are already in the frame. All you do is move to the back. And I'm not sure why anybody want to do that, but say if you want to run 2 batteries, there's an option to do that.
Right.
And then I've been running 5 slot 16 turn motors for years, and I've always thought those were the best motors ever. So we put that in our kit. We tested them, and they're super smooth and got good power, and they never get hot. And so we did that. And then when we got to the servo, we wanted to put the biggest servo we could, so we put a 180 ounce servo in the truck. For an RTR, that's really, really good.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
for the
absolutely.
guy that just wants to get the RTR and go have a good time, he's pretty much set out of the box. There's really nothing else he really needs to do except add his chrome gas cap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and there's so many features that thing came with too. I mean, and there's stuff that I'm learning for the first time too, as we're sitting here talking tonight too. So how do you guys decide what you're going to use as selling points when you're introducing something like that to the market versus like are you worried about like giving them too much information to the point of where they're getting overwhelmed with this full page of different features and benefits, or do you guys just kind of pick the major ones and that's what you decide you're gonna push through your campaign for advertising it, or how does that part of it
It
work?
just depends on who we're marketing after. I mean, honestly, yes,
Mm-hmm.
the truck's a crawler. Yes, and it looks like everybody else's crawler, but once you start getting down deep into it, there's a lot of stuff that is different with this truck. Our frame rails are higher for more clearance. The reversible ring and pinion, 5 mil steel links. There's stuff in it that we don't even mention. Like the axles inside the axle, or the axle shafts inside the axles. They're 5 mil. They're a millimeter bigger than anybody else is out there in the market. So
Whoa. Yeah, I had no idea.
I can overwhelm you with stuff that we've done with this truck, but the reason why we do stuff like that is because I've been crawling for so long, and I've been doing this. I've bent rear axle shafts, falling off a ledge or doing something stupid. Not saying that I do that a lot, but I do. I tested this truck 3S brushless power
There is a reason why they say, or why you say,
the whole entire
like
time for 8 months.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
That is really cool.
And
It's
and I
neat
live by
learning
it.
about all this from you.
Yeah, Aaron, the designer, he won't even go with me and test because he cringes, because it's his baby. And then here I am sticking it through rocks. You know, my goal is when you get up to a rock and it gets bound up, I just power through it and come out the other side. Either something's going to break or it's going to pop out the other side. And so far, I haven't broke anything. It pops out the other side.
And that's honestly the best way to test, because you know it as well as anybody else, especially in this conversation knows. You see some of the people that get on these trails, they're just throttle happy, so they get next to a big old rock and their tire can be completely underneath the ledge and they'll just throttle out till something explodes. So if you don't test it that way, how are you going to find out if it's actually going to hold up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Correct.
That's pretty funny though.
Yeah,
Just beating on the thing like
one
that.
thing you will notice when you guys do so it's like when we were developing it, it's like, well, we're gonna put a slipper on it. I'm like, why? Nobody runs a slipper. If you have a slipper, everybody just tightens it up anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time you ever hear a slipper working is when you don't want it to work. So we don't even put it on there. So
exactly.
Right.
The only other thing, because I don't don't.
So I'm testing all this with no slipper.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I only ask this because I don't actually have one. Is it actual universals in the front, or are they dog bones? They're CVDs. Okay. No, I was just.
Well, they're CVDs.
They're
universals.
Just because, like I said, I'm trying to see, where everything's at as far as what you're getting with everything, because it's still relatively new to me. I've everything that I've seen has been basically from what you guys have put out there and from other people that own them have been putting out there. So,
yeah, I mean, if anybody out there has any questions, be more than free to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. Ask your questions. Usually, Facebook Messenger is probably the easiest way. But if you want a free truck, don't call me.
Yeah.
It's been horrible the last few weeks for whatever reason. So,
well, it's funny that you bring that up, because we've actually kind of come full circle with everything we've kind of talked about over these last 3 to 4 weeks. We've covered everything from people wanting sponsorships and wanting free stuff, and to what it takes to actually put one of these vehicles out into production and the time that it goes into engineering. I mean, we just talked about all of that. What was that, 2 weeks ago, Jay? Something like where we were saying, and when when you come out with these vehicles that you've spent hours and hours just trying to design something that's going to work, make sure that all the geometry works, make sure that everything's just going to perform the way they want it to, and then you release it, and then you get these, lack of better words, internet trolls on there that go, oh, well, if it was my car, I would have rotated the battery 180 degrees, and if I would have, it's like, fine, then go out there and build yours and start the next one.
And that's fine. I mean, that's why we make it. So buy the kit and put your brand of tire on it, your brand of wheel, your brand of body on it, and let it ride. I mean, that's what's so cool. Is that there's not probably two rigs the same. People into it,
Oh yeah.
So I've been a brush guy my whole time and my whole life, and recently I found the hobby wing setup. Well, I've been on the hobby wing for the whole time that I was testing, and it's awesome. But you talk to some guys, oh, it's like no, brush is the only way to go. Just build it and then run it and then change it after that. Don't try to redevelop the truck. Or do I don't care. Send me pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See, and then that's the thing. We've been trying to promote that positivity and camaraderie through our podcast, because I've noticed like lately, especially with all the new stuff coming out, there's so many people just flooding these, comment sections and, threads on Facebook, just like, bashing whatever comes out and constantly comparing it to brand X or brand Z. And it's like, there's a reason why there's all of this out here. It's, not everything's going to be tailored for one person. You got to
Right.
actually build these, or when you release a car, it's for the masses. It's not just for one person. So
Right.
if it's something you don't like, instead of being so hateful, just either try something else or just don't even say anything negative. Then what
Well,
was
I
that
had
saying?
one guy. What's that?
I was saying, what was that saying? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Right. No,
Good luck with that.
nobody knows that nowadays.
No, nobody
So,
knows that
Yeah,
nowadays.
no.
but yeah, yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. So I can't wait till these actually get in people's hands and see what they do with them, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And if anybody listening is out by K&K in Ohio, come by and say hi in the booth and ask me questions for sure. So
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of questions, should we? I know we actually had some sent to us this week, so do we
Yeah,
want
let me open that
to
up real quick.
cover those?
John, feel free if you want to chime in on some of these, because like I said, knowing that you are, with Element, I know some of the questions that were sent in, you might not be able to 100% answer, but basically every week we always let people know, hey, we're going to be recording. Send us in some questions that you have, and one of them that we got, because it was just released, what was that, yesterday? Ryan Crowley had asked us, what are your thoughts on the new SSD crawler chassis versus its advertised price?
Oh yeah, I saw
So,
that too.
Jay, do you want to start that one off, or?
Yeah, sure. Since I can answer it, so I totally get that some of these it's hard to be tactful with and might just want to pass on. So I totally understand, John, if there's something you can't answer. Um, I think for what you're getting, I think the price is spot on. I think I had guessed it was going to be near like $500 or something like that when we first started talking about it. But I mean, given everything that you get with it, you are getting a couple features that are like similar to the VS410 as far as like the front axle and whatnot. There's some people that's a important, cool looking feature to have, and that's something they want. And so I think $500 for that kit retail is, I think that's actually a pretty fair asking price,
well,
given the amount of scale goodies it comes with.
people don't realize the price of molds
Mm.
and
Oh
and the
yeah,
time it takes to put this stuff together and engineer and all that. You know that truck I see is gonna fit that guy that's gonna want that ultimate scale truck with the engine and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
will they sell them? Absolutely. I mean, uh, people buy cross RC stuff all the time, and they start at $400 and they go up from there.
Oh
like
yeah.
$800, and
yeah,
they're expensive.
yep,
So
Yeah. And I know we touched base on this last week, because that was kind of like what our guess was. We were both taking guesses roughly how much it was going to be, and we both said that if it came under 500, I definitely see it being something that'll sell, because you're able to get a bunch of products that people have been buying somewhat separately as one package. So that's really all I have to say about it. I mean, it's definitely one of those rigs, like you said, John, that's going to pertain to the person who wants the full scale motor. If you want that forward motor style setup, because maybe you're doing a full detailed interior, so you need more clearance, so you don't have the big center gearbox. Yeah, so honestly, I think for what you get, their axles, the forward motor, basically everything is new. It's not like they're just taking something that's already there and throwing a couple of parts that they've made for it. I think the price is on point. So
yeah. I think just that trans is $100 by
it,
itself if you were to buy it for an
exactly, and
SCX10. So
if you
I
really
mean
broke it down that way, I think it's $100 for that trans. and then it's got to be at least another almost 200, if not more, for a set of their axles if you bought them, a la carte.
Yeah, with all the
Yeah,
guts.
and
Yeah.
then add in the fact that you got shocks and you got the rest of the stuff that goes with it for the chassis. I could see it easily being right there about 450. So yeah, makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. We had Chris Trudeau has a question here. It said, "Do you ever foresee the power of scale builds going as to realistic as they are? The degree and detail and the creativeness builders go to make realistic crawlers. Any builders that impress you? Are you that detailed on your own build? Favorite body, either current production or something hasn't been made that you want to see?" So kind of what we've kind of partially answered that. So for me, I haven't been in this long enough to really see the progression. I think I'm only 4 years into Scale RC now, and so um, even within that short period of time, I would say yes, it's kind of blown my mind with what we first started out with to what's available now. So no, I did not imagine it would go the direction it has, and I think it's fantastic. As far as any builder, the degree and detail and creativeness go to make realistic scale crawlers. Yeah, no, I mean that caught me by surprise. Any builders that impress you? Yeah, there's almost too many to mention. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
got Wes. You got, I mean, my God, there's some amazing guys out there, and so I mean, yeah, I would have to say that every single day I come across something that's impressed me by somebody
I
on
mean, look at
social
Headquake.
media. So
I
Headquake.
mean, that
But
guy's out of control. Or the Danny, what's his name? That builds all those crazy stuff.
oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's next level stuff. I
wow.
mean,
Yeah, that absolutely is just mind blowing. The stuff that dude cranks
yeah, there's
out.
a lot of people. Even I don't know what his actual name is, and I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram, but he goes by Scale Monkey or Scale Monkey Garage or something like that.
yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, he does a lot of the RC four-wheel drive K5 Blazers, and
Mhm.
some of the detail he puts into those things. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you'd think it's a real rig.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Well, I'm gonna follow him right now, actually, because I hadn't even heard of him before. So I'm gonna look him up real
I've
quick.
been, I'm a full size enthusiast 'cause I built my XJ and I'm RC enthusiast, and I have one of my friends says half the time we don't know if it's real or if it's RC because
Yeah,
the the detail is getting just out of control. I mean, Matthew Kett, some of his stuff is just it's so cool.
Oh yeah,
He's one of my favorite builders too. So
yeah,
totally. I
definitely.
mean, and that's what's funny. I mean, to answer in my perspective, the part where it says the degree in detail, or did you see the power of scale builds going this far? When I got into this, it was late 2009. I want to say 2010. I got my first crawler, and back then, unless you welded or fabricated your own stuff, there really wasn't a way getting into the hobby to make these super scale. And everything was limited. There was only so many bodies. There was only so many parts available. So to see in these last like 10 years how much everything's changed is just that's blowing me away.
yeah, and I think in the next few years, I think it's going to get even more out of control, just because of just the way it's going. I mean, the lights and I mean Axial Fest. People are showing up with exhaust, smoking out the back of their exhaust pipe. I mean, come on, guys! You guys need a hobby.
Yeah, that was pretty
Well,
awesome.
So,
I mean, even look at Proline by the Fire. I mean, the Scale City.
oh yeah,
I mean, even going to that extreme. I mean, I've seen it at Axial Fest. We've been a part of it too. Me and Elio doing like the Scale Campground and stuff. We thought that was kind of cool, just doing like one little scenery thing. But the fact that people have taken it to that level to where you can actually have a 10th scale city for your 10th scale crawler is mind blowing.
well, I mean, that's what we did with the box with the Element. We gave you your own garage. You open
Mm-hmm.
the box up, people throw the box away. Now you open it up and it makes your own scale garage. So but that's what people are. That's what
just
people are going for.
mind-blowing.
They want that scaleness. So look at Elio. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and you guys work on your rigs. You got your scale figure working on your scale truck and your scale garage. So
Yeah.
you know, but I know the scale figures are the same size as Elio, but at the same time, sorry, Elio.
Like, I guess that makes it kind of easy, huh? Oh,
So
that
yeah,
was
see, it's not scale life with him; it's real life.
It's real life, right?
RC is 1-to-1.
So,
But
That's
yeah,
too funny.
I mean, no, honestly, that's why I built my scale garage, was for, taking those shots, when you want to, put a rig together and you're like, hey, just put this together, you make it look like it's actually happening in a garage instead of on a bench, because everybody assembles stuff on a bench. This way you can actually, go the extra mile and make something look that much more scale. And like you said, I honestly, I don't see it, regressing backwards or degressing backwards. I see it. It's just always going to progress. It's going to keep going. Somebody else is going to come out with the next thing that's going to, just catapult it that much farther, to where some of the stuff that you did back in the day, like I know we brought this up numerous times, like the original SEX10 platform. When I first got into it, I mean, you had to literally rebuild the whole car to make it a, contender on the trail. You had to move the battery until the battery got moved to the front. But like my first one, the battery was intended to go in the rear. Um, it had dog bones, all that stuff. So you did the battery forward mod and you switched everything out, the overdrive and underdrive, and now you're getting rigs such as the Element that come right out of the box, ready to go. I mean, there's not, like you said earlier, there's not much you have to do to it to take it out on the trail.
right, but that's not what scale trucking is all about. It's about creating your truck and making it your own. So it's just going to keep progressing, too. So, but you're right. We're making it easier for them to actually go out and buy wheels and bodies now, instead of having to worry about making trucks that need to work better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's funny, and it's only a matter of time till I think this will start happening, I guess, with, ready to runs and whatnot. But I started within the last year switching over all, because I run either the VP style hub wheels, and they use you actually have to use the 6 screws to hold it onto the hub. I don't even use those, what would you call the factory ones that they give you with the kit, the 440 with the little hex head. I actually use the scale hardware now for the scale acorn lug nuts, just because it looks that much more scale. And I think it's only a matter of time till companies are going to start, including that kind of detail into the cars that you get straight out of the box.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're seeing it happen already. It's pretty cool.
Now the racers need to get on board and start putting drivers and going up their race cars.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see, because I always said that with because I too have a UC Fab chassis that I'm in the middle of working on. I told myself I want to make it a goal of mine to actually put like somewhat of a scale driver, even if it's a half interior. I want to do something, because I know a lot of the UC Fab guys put just like a Wraith interior in there or a Bomber interior, just so that way it has something. I'd actually like to put something to make it a little more detailed, because you don't see that with those people. The people that usually have those cars, they're performance based. They want them to work. They're not trying to scale them out.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see when racers will actually find a way to add drivers without worrying about sacrificing too much weight.
Right. Well, it's funny because the monster truck scene right now on the East Coast, they're racing monster trucks, but most of them have drivers in them. Most of them have the hub covers on them. Most of them have scale items in them to make it look like real monster trucks. And probably 99% of them, they're actually old school or now monster trucks that exist. So they're they're living their monster truck dream.
Yeah, and
but
that's
as well as racing.
That's badass. That's really cool.
I think what it honestly is, and maybe it will eventually come to racing, I think it's just actually the overall enjoyment you get trying to see how far you can push the envelope and making something that's a toy look real.
Right. Yep. Well, back, I mean, 30 years ago, when older guys would they retire, their hobby was train sets
Mm-hmm.
and making the train sets as real as possible, and making their backyards train sets and all this and that. We're just now taking the train guys and turning them into scale guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, with just it's turning into that's one thing that is kind of crazy about this is like you've got the guys that buy them and drive and comp, and then you've got like the full on like modelers that go nuts with these things and make them just every bit as real as they possibly can. Like I consider like Matthew Kett to be like he falls into the. I mean, granted, yeah, he loves driving and everything too, but I throw him into the modeler category because I mean he
him and James Knight, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that was the other thing I was going to bring up too. It's the other thing that really catapulted, in my opinion, the scaleness to the degree that it's at now is the 3D printing. Once 3D printing became more readily available for your average consumer, the ideas and the possibilities are like endless.
Mm-hmm.
But I still give my hats off to people like Matt Kent and Wes, who actually still do the scratch build, and they actually spend the time and they cut every piece by hand, glue it together, shape it, all that. I mean, because that takes a lot of work, but that's how they did it before people 3D printed everything.
But those guys will still do that because that's how they enjoy.
Exactly.
Too.
Which is rad.
Which that's why I was going to say.
That's incredibly cool.
Hats off to them, because that's. I know I personally don't have the time, or not the time. I don't have that patience to sit there and do that. So I could definitely admire when someone takes the time to scale it out like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think that was really it for any other questions. I think those were the two main ones that we got.
Yeah, and it's probably getting kind of late back there. It's what are you 2 or 3
hours? We're 3
hours.
It's almost 11 o'clock, but I'm still on West Coast time, so I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, I told myself when I got here, okay, I'm going to transition to East Coast time as soon as I land. No, I'm going to go to bed at 2 in the morning. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe that's something you can touch base on. I mean, how often do you travel? Like, does it mess you up that much when you're going to all these different events, like across the country?
Yes and no. I just started traveling again now that we have product, so it'll take some time getting used to. But the crazy thing is with traveling, and what I do is a lot of times when I go to a hobby shop, they don't open till 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then usually they stay open till 8 or 9. If I do travel and I find a bunch of guys that are meeting up after work who are crawling or racing, I'll go hang out with them until 10, 11 o'clock at night. So not really. It doesn't really mess me up that much. Sometimes, like K&K will mess me up because I'll have to be up early. and get there, and set up and all that because they start at a decent time. But it's just part of the gig. You just make it happen and move forward.
Okay. I guess there's one other thing I would like to bring up, only because it literally was released today, and I wonder if that's going to be the new wave of, we're talking about scale progression. Is Vanquish just released that they're doing that forward motor mount setup?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's going to be the new wave of the way RC goes, as far as like, the forward motor mount, the low, I guess smaller transfer case in the center of the rig, kind of setup?
I think the only reason why you really need to move the motor forward is for the guy that wants to put the scale interior in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys that run as much weight in the front as possible, and I always felt that the truck, because I've done that myself, and then the back end just jumps around. You're going through a gate and it moves over, or it slides, or it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
And going downhill is horrible. So
Yeah.
I think the forward mounting gearbox is going to cater to the guy that's going to want to build that, class 1 or class 0 truck. They have the full interior, get those scale points, and I think it's a great idea moving the motor forward. But at the end of the day, you still got to have some of that weight in the back,
Yeah.
and going to the Vanquish truck. I've driven that truck, and that truck works great, but it's a heavy truck too.
Hmm.
So I think by putting that gearbox in their truck, it's going to make their truck work even better because it's already a heavy truck. So
Totally.
it's not one of our 3.5-4 pound trucks to come out of a box with
Hmm.
all plastic. So and I've driven their truck, and their truck's really a good truck. But it's also all metal too. It's all it's a heavy truck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for like me putting that gearbox in one of my trucks, I would have to add beef patties or something on the rear also.
Yeah. No, I definitely get it.
Right.
I guess we can actually go that route too. So if you were setting up a rig, for I guess complete competition, but you still wanted to maintain it like the scaleness, how would you set up a rig?
Um, I like setting my trucks up as I call them 80% droop.
Okay.
So I like the low slung and then let the suspension drop out. Um, I know some guys like a stiffer front and a stiffer rear. I like my trucks basically just to sit 80% all the way around. Um, it's just the way I like driving it. Um, far as oil, with these shocks here, I'm running 20 weight in them. They got really good dampening. Um, so when you jump to a rock, or it lands, it actually sticks. Um, and as far as servo electronics, I've always ran brushed 16 turn motors. I always run the biggest servo I can uh, put in my truck. And right now I'm running. I have my 125 truck. I'm running the new Reefs 999, the 1,000 ounce servo.
Hmm.
So that thing's a monster.
Crazy.
And uh, for speedos, I run. If I'm running brush, you can't beat the Tekin FXR. It's
Nice.
small, it works smooth, it's programmable, and and I've been running the Reedy shorty packs, just a little bit lighter weight battery up high. So, and then tires, I'm a Proline guy, so I always run Prolines.
Nice. Yeah, I really love that answer you had earlier about the Hyrax, because we had that little debate on scale tire versus comp tire on like our second episode, and yeah, I'm definitely one of those. The Hyrax work well. I just can't get over the fact that they don't look scale.
Right, right. I mean, it's a great tire. It works awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, they do work
But
great.
far as looking realistic, it's just not there.
Yeah.
Are those shocks on your Element? Are those a 12 mil big wheel?
Those are 12 mil. These are the same shocks that like you would see on our old T4 race trucks. This,
Okay,
that's
I
probably the
thought
only
so.
thing we
Cool.
really didn't have to design on this truck because those shocks were already proven.
Yeah, those things are
And if
awesome.
anybody has to
Yeah.
see my truck for the last, or any of my trucks for the last 2 years, those are the shocks I've been running on my truck for 2 years before I even got a job at Associated, because I've always raced Associated,
Hmm.
and
Right.
the Associated shocks are just, they work great. They don't leak. You can actually rebuild them with X rings in them. You can adjust the pistons, and I know that Element, they're going to come out with 5 different spring rates. So if you want a stiff or a soft, we'll have those too.
Awesome. That is one thing that I wish was easier in RC is trying to get different rate springs. That's because I think a lot of people take for granted how important suspension
Oh yeah,
really is.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, when the truck gets released, all the parts, the fender wells, the springs, the aftermarket shocks, tops and bottoms, and all that stuff will be available on our website to order. So
That's
it's
gonna be
just
rad.
that's one thing I did fight over at Axial all the time is I really want. People are always asking for shirts and hats and stuff like that. You can never buy them. The only time you
Mhm.
get them is just when we had them, we
Right.
could give them away. We've already have them going up on our website, so you can buy all the hats, pin mats, shirts, sweatshirts. It's all there. We're making it easy for everybody.
I saw that today. Yeah, the shirts look really nice. I was pretty stoked when I saw that.
Yeah. So
Well, it's just
um,
like part of going the full dollhouse. The guys when they buy this stuff, it's all typical guy stuff. You want a T-shirt, you want a hat to go with whatever you're buying. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're
oh
proud
yeah,
of it,
So,
absolutely. Represent your brand. Absolutely.
Yeah.
so
You know.
no, that's always good
No,
to
I
see.
think that's a
Yeah.
good move.
So,
Yeah, that's one of the main things I said when we came up here. I says we got to make everything accessible for everybody.
hmm
From keychain
Yeah.
lanyards all the way to banners. I mean, if you want it, it's there. Just
awesome.
Yeah. No, I think that's important.
so,
Definitely.
and um, yeah. So I'll tell you what. For anybody that's listening to this, you come up to me to the booth. Tell me, tell me that you heard me on this podcast, and I'll get you a free shirt.
There you go,
Hey,
man.
there you go.
We better put this one out there and let people know there's a special message, but you got to listen. We're not going to tell you what time,
Yeah,
but
don't give it away. Yeah,
I'm gonna limit
exactly.
it. I'm gonna limit it to 5 people. I'll tell you that. Because
awesome.
Rad.
I know I got 5 of
That's
each size in the trunk of my car right now. So I'll save those
Awesome.
for. But they have to
awesome.
mention your guys' name and your podcast.
Awesome. I love that.
Perfect. Awesome.
So,
Thanks, dude. Very
Absolutely.
cool. Thank you.
yeah, see, and that's where I think we're going to end it on this one. I mean, it's a true honor to have someone like you on the show. Always a positive person, always, having a good time, always about the lifestyle. I can't thank you enough for coming out and going on the show with us. Especially
Oh,
for
absolutely.
especially for something that's relatively new. I mean, we've only been doing this for like 11 weeks, so we're still growing. So um, just showing that you're taking the time out for us is, more than enough. So
Oh,
Yeah, I appreciate that, and also, thank you for on behalf of everybody that really doesn't, that hasn't been super familiar with your story and actually understood what all you've, contributed to this hobby that we enjoy. So I on behalf of all of them, thank you again very much because this was really cool, and you've had some neat involvement with all of the different endeavors that you've had, and it's been fun to watch you through your career, as what all you've been doing. So
well, I'm
thank you
very
again.
passionate what
So
I've been doing. I've been doing it since '84, and a lot of times I do these events and stuff that I've done is because I like meeting everybody out there. So that's most of
that's
the fun,
awesome.
meeting people from all over.
oh yeah.
So, but
So
Cool.
yeah, well,
Right
thank you
on.
very much.
well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
I know. I don't know if Jay's coming down for this. We're probably gonna have to pull his leg a little harder now. I'll definitely be seeing you at Crawford the Cure.
Yes.
But Jay, we're probably gonna have to pull your leg, get you down here.
I'll try and do that. I think my co-dog Jared and I could probably make that happen. That's something that we both talked about. So yeah, I think
Do a
we'll do
live
that.
podcast out there while you're out there. Interview all kinds of people.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be really fun too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that could
Thanks.
be our first on site setup. So
Yeah.
so yeah. So
Not a
if you have
problem.
anything further you'd like to say, John.
Oh no, just thanks everybody for your support, and make sure if you see me, come up and say hi. Introduce yourself, and hope to see everybody out there somewhere sometime. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
Thanks,
thank you very
dude.
much. And
And we will catch
all right. See
everybody
you guys
next week.
next week.
All right.